Welcome to 5-Star Weekly. The King dons the armband and we break down the second leg against Alajuelense. We also preview the season opener against the Kitties over the weekend. All that and more coming up. Welcome to the show, 5-Star fam. I'm AJ and this is Marc. Before we get into it, become part of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube. This segment is sponsored by Thinking Man Tavern, a cozy Decatur neighborhood pub. Grab a tasty beverage from a wide variety of selections and a plate of something delicious from the menu. To go, check out Thinking Man Tavern. So Atlanta United held off a stiff challenge by Alajuelense on Tuesday night with a 1-0 win at Fifth Third Bank Stadium Tuesday night. We beat them 2-0 on aggregate to move on to the quarterfinals for the third consecutive year. And we will face either Saprissa or Philadelphia Union. But that third consecutive season is pretty lofty in terms of that little bit of kind of stat fact thing. But we become just the second MLS team to achieve that in the CCL era. That's 2008 to the current. LA Galaxy are the other one with 2012 to 2014. That's according to Johannes Schneider. But yes, definitely a good night overall. Maybe not the best performance from the boys, but yeah, they lined up with, yes, Rocco Rios Novo got another short-term agreement, and it was his second one of 4 that we can sign him to this season. Yeah, there are people clamoring for him to maybe be able to get a first-team contract, but we shall see. Yeah, he definitely is showing some good bits, and you know we don't have any senior roster spots though, so that is one of those things that will be a obstacle. But yes, Rocco Rios Novo in between the 6, Walks, Bello, Robinson, Lennon, Sosa, Ibarra, Moreno, Barco, Heineman, and Josef Martinez was our captain, walking us out onto the pitch. And yeah, really great to see the King don that armband, and yes, you know, I think also get his first start of 2021, which is very encouraging. Now, if it was actually truly encouraging, any of the performances in the first 20 or so minutes, maybe not so much. But yeah, Marc, what were your just initial thoughts on you know, the match on a whole, and you know, the takeaway of Josef Martinez being the captain on the night?
Well, I mean, Josef being captain thing, I think is we already see, we know that he's an emotional leader. You know what I mean? And so like he is, whether he's a captain or not, he's always going to have that approach to the game. So I do feel like he's a natural fitted captain. I could see 1 or 2 other players maybe donning the armband, although off the top of my head, not right now. But you know, maybe like down the line, like a Sosa or something like that. But yeah, I think Josef is a natural leader. But the match itself wasn't great. You know, it wasn't. At least, especially if you were looking for flowing football, chances created, that sort of thing. There was more of a workman performance from, I mean, like they had their opportunities. Of course, Brooks Lennon hits the bar with a header. I thought you saw flashes of some good things. Like one thing that jumped out to me was Miles Robinson hitting a long diagonal to Barco. You know, if we see more of that this season, that's I think something to be really excited about. But yeah, overall, not a great performance, and I think it was just a little bit of a heat check, a little bit of reality check. Like this team is in the process of you know, learning the managers, understanding what the manager wants, and you know, they'll see as teams approach them, you know, what the system offers, you know, layers on in terms of obviously shape and sort of sequences, but then like when the defense reacts to that, you know, what do you do from there? So I think that's what they're going to have to kind of work through as the season goes on. But can't complain about getting the job done. Like that's the most important thing. I definitely think that knockout competitions are just a different almost ball game from regular season play, and so you just have to do what you have to do. And it's encouraging to see them be able to grind it out.
Yeah, and so it's definitely like you're saying, not a really super inspiring performance. I think the first 42 minutes in that first leg was definitely the most encouraging, I think, of halves in this whole tie. But that first 20 minutes, we had 2 shots, but none were on target. We had a whole lot of possession, but not really doing much with it. We pretty much got to the final third and just kind of ran out of ideas against a side that, yes, Alajuelense, they had a lot of trouble being able to field their actual starting lineup going into this match. They had some travel issues, one could say, that 5 to 7 of their starting 11 pretty much weren't able to take part. They
possibly had travel issues.
Yeah, and so because they were part of the national teams that traveled to Europe 15 days prior, and yes, what Marc was alluding to, the official statement from CONCACAF, they stated that Alajuelense's kind of oversight and management of their travel and visa arrangements. Pretty much that Alajuelense did not apply for the required exemptions until the day of their travel, only 2 days before the match. And so, that's leaving it late, that's for sure. And like there were a lot of people that were slagging us off on Twitter, and our friend CRC Football definitely was doing that as well. But it's one of those things. Either way, he also said that they weren't actually relying on as many of those unknown quantities as we all may think. It was actually still a pretty veteran side. It's just that they were maybe playing a little bit, round circle and square pegs type of thing. It's just like, that will kind of be a recipe for the kind of performance that you saw. I think that they also look pretty drab as well. They weren't really creating too much, but that's advantage Atlanta for sure, because I'm not really going to be too fussed if they have issues either way. I mean, yes, is it unfair in some respects of like did they not get those exemptions in time? It's arguable. Self-inflicted maybe. Is it unfair? Possibly. But if Atlanta United waited that long to do it, I mean, I would be a little bit upset at my team as well. So ultimately, we'll take it in that sense. But Josef Martinez, he played a good number of minutes, and unfortunately, I think for me, wasn't able to really get too involved in the game. Not a lot of service as well. It was a bit difficult for him. I think he was a little bit indecisive, I think, as well, of what he really truly wanted to do. Did he want to go all out for the header? Did he want to, on a quick sixpence and turn? He definitely seemed to be, I think like you would expect when someone is just returning from this type of injury, that he's going to be a little reticent to go all out, to really commit 100% into every single bit of movement. But either way, though, I think he gets that run out, and it's something that's pretty useful for him going forward, and we still are able to get the result. And get the result we did in the substitute in Jurgen Damm getting the goal. And just talking through this sequence, it's a good ball in behind, and Ezequiel Barco is one-on-one with the keeper, and seems like he's trying to round the keeper. and yeah, the ball kind of squibbles away just a little bit, but far enough from both of them. And Jürgen Damm, I think, does the good thing here in that he's following the play. He's pretty much running from pretty deep as well, and his pace, he's able to pretty much meet it where, yeah, it's an open net. He passes it into the back of the net, and it pretty much seals the deal. And yeah, it's at that point we knew, yeah, we were going into the quarterfinals. But yeah, in terms of, you know, this match, it's well, let's first say it was Jürgen Damm's first goal for Atlanta United, so congrats to the boy. Yeah, it's definitely good to see him get on the score sheet. He yeah, maybe isn't that out and out starter at the moment, but you know, that kind of super sub at the moment could be something that he could be really suited for until he gets that kind of match sharpness a little bit. But yeah, I think there's a lot of talking points here. One of them being Marcelino Moreno starting on the right. Maybe not as effective per se. I think you know, he's more suited and more accustomed to playing on the left and in the middle, but on the right he seemed to be a little miscast. Definitely didn't seem the most comfortable. But Ezequiel Barco, yeah, was working so hard throughout the match.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, he was everywhere, being fouled as often as you think he would be. I mean, pretty much every time he was on the ball. But you know, it is one of those things that Ezequiel Barco, yeah, he just carried us to the last minute. I mean, and yeah, you know, pretty much, yes, maybe he was trying to round the keeper. Maybe his final third decision making isn't quite where we want it to exactly be, but he does get the assist for Jürgen Damm at the end of the day. And yeah, and we get another clean sheet. So, you know, it's 2 of 2 clean sheets in both. I mean, it's you know, not a terrible night all in all, but yeah, Mark, any other thoughts?
Yeah, one point I wanted to make, you know, the Alajuelense manager made this point before the first leg that they hadn't seen Atlanta before, you know what I mean? So that was just going to be, there was really no real way to prepare for them. You know, they're going to learn a lot about them. And I think the way you saw Atlanta control the first leg early on was a reflection of that. I think, you know, what you saw in the second leg was definitely a more prepared Alajuelense, and then they were, as our friend Eddie told us, they were comfortable sitting deep anyway, and so, you know, they definitely made the second leg a lot more difficult, knowing that they only needed the one goal. You know, it seemed like that was a strategy, just try to catch Atlanta out, and you know, it's tied from there, and anything happened from there. So was part of why Atlanta struggled, and you know, just like being able, you know, a team having a second goal with you within a week, you know, they're definitely going to know more about you, and so it'll be interesting to see how Atlanta navigates that throughout the season with the teams that they play twice, 3 times, you know. But overall, you know, I'm satisfied. Like I said before, you know, especially at this stage, it's more about getting the result. They showed the ability to do that. And yeah, I just wanted to echo your sentiments on Barco as well. I mean, like, I love, like, the attacking players who are willing to put their body on the line, who are willing to get fouled over and over and over again. It does so much for the team. And that's a good starting point for Barco. But of course, we'd like to see more end product going forward.
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, he still created 4 chances, led the team. So it's definitely, you know, there's so many glimpses of promise. It's just hoping that he can, in the final third, really deliver, bring that quality, because it's definitely there. I mean, he yeah, he worked the keeper a couple times in the second half as well. I mean, you know, if he was a little luckier, could have gotten the score sheet. So, you know, definitely something that you know, it's something to keep an eye on. And yeah, you make a great point in terms of this being 2 legs and them sitting so deep that they were really, really difficult to break down. And that just makes it, the things that we need to work on for sure is that creativity in the final third to be able to, put away some of these chances. Even though, yes, I think the amount of great chances maybe in this match were maybe just a couple. But either way, we, like we said, get the job done. And, Rios Novo does get another clean sheet. He's got 2 pro matches and 2 clean sheets. And, to be honest, didn't have a lot to do in this match. Let's be sure of that. But, still.
Yeah, the 1 foot save, though, which was really scary, man.
Oh, yeah. That was brilliant. What a beauty of that save. Oh, man. Crucial. But, he seemed to have it covered. Positionally, he seems to be very sound. And the ball at his feet, yeah, he can definitely pick out a pass from the back for sure. And I think the defense needs to be lauded here for not only this clean sheet, but I think on a job well done in both legs, really keeping it stout and limiting a lot of the chances, even though, yes, this was a, maybe not as high-powered side that Alajuelense is used to. But one more note on this, though, is that Eric Lopez wasn't part of the squad, and a lot of people are questioning where is he at. He's a guy that seemingly could play a part and is a maybe dangerous guy that you could bring off the bench as well. But Doug Roberson, he pontificated on Twitter that why he's neither starting nor in the game day roster. He's saying that maybe he's learning a new position. He's Heinze is using him as a winger rather than kind of second striker as he's used to. So there is a little bit of maybe that as, besides Barco, we're not really using a 10 per se. It's, we're using kind of dual 8s kind of. So, we'll see if that persists. But I also think, though, I mean, from what we saw against Club America, I think he's got the work rate to be able to, do that for us. So, it is, it'll remain to be seen. For sure, but Heinze had a little bit of things to say after the match, and he said that yes, there's so much that we need to improve on. It only gets more difficult from here, obviously, because yes, we have the MLS season starting, so we definitely have a lot to work on. But Heinze also talked about Josef Martinez'S play. He didn't want to evaluate it. He said that I want him to enjoy the time on the pitch that I decide to give him. So interesting that I mean, basically I think he's knowing that Josef Martinez is going to be, I think, coddled for a minute. It's not going to be allowing him just handbrake completely off and just let him go off the rails full 90. But and that's I just want to make a point that so far I like how Anse has been managing Josef. I like it a lot. You know what I mean? I like that he's kind of, and I guess you could say putting his foot down a little bit, just doing his job as a manager. I think because players are always going to want to play. Players are always going to want to get out there. Especially the most competitive players. And so I think Anse does need to have that handbrake up on him. Be careful with how he starts pulling him after 60 minutes and so on. And I love that quote too. It's I just want to go out there and have fun, essentially. But really, Josef needs to get a feel for everything. He's sort of rebuilding almost. So I just want to give a special shout to the manager for how he's handling Josef so far. Indeed. But yes, we do move on, like we said, and we will await who we face in the quarterfinals. So let's wrap that baby up and move into the news. And it is finally official. Alan Franco is an Atlanta United player. Darren Eales tweeted out something that I've been saying for a long time about some of our players when we have a lot of turnover at positions is a Spinal Tap reference in, basically when we had a left back optional type of squad, it was definitely this type of, Spinal Tap drummer kind of situation. And then for our center back, kind of, all the transfer rumors, man, it was just madness. But he quotes an Arcade Fire song here, and I guess we'll just have to adjust. And so AF also equals Alan Franco. So super cool little reference there if you're an indie rock fan. But yes, Alan Franco. He had been in quarantine for about a couple weeks after he tested positive for COVID when he arrived, and it was just another one of the litany of things that we had to deal with for getting a center back in the door. But he was finally announced, and so we finally have the 24-year-old Argentine center back, but he does come in as a surprise, a designated player. And the reported transfer fee was only $2.8 million, but he does get the Independiente do get the bonuses of $100,000 if Atlanta United wins the MLS Cup, and $100,000 if Franco is chosen amongst the best 11 in MLS. But there is some Independiente could get more or just about that if we sell him for more than that, and that will be, that's pretty much a really, really good deal in terms of $2.8 million for a guy that seemingly, doesn't come for a designated player fee in that sense. But I mean, it's this is massive to be able to bring in a player of his quality. Carlos Bocanegra, loves his competitiveness. Loves that he's an aggressive center back who's comfortable with the ball at his feet. And he's got a lot of experience in the Copa Sudamericana and the Copa Libertadores. So he will be integrated into the team slowly, probably, because he has been training this past week, but he is still not eligible to play for LA United because of a visa that's still being processed. So that's why he wasn't able to take part in the second leg of Alajuelense. But he did talk about, watching that first leg, and that was quite hilarious because he wasn't able to find it. He had to watch the match on delay, and he couldn't find the channel. And then, I think we can all kind of really relate here in Franco's troubles here because, they need to sort that out, that whole thing, but that's a whole separate discussion. But yes, AJC and both The Athletic both reported that Marcelino Moreno will be bought down as a TAM player so that Franco can fill that third DP spot. But thoughts on Franco finally being an Atlanta United player, and we finally get our starting center back.
Praise be to whoever you rate that. Just thank him, because oh my gosh, I was really concerned when with this deal, when this deal looked like it was going to fall through, or looked like Alina was going to walk away. It was just like, well, what now? But I'm actually really thrilled about this player in particular, especially his age. He's 24, so he's in the prime of his career. He's obviously a highly lauded defender in the Argentina league, and so it seems like, obviously, again, I'm not too comfortable making judgments on players I haven't watched play myself, but all of the signs suggest that this will be a player that the manager wants, and we should expect to see in the starting lineup very soon. And bringing in a top center back to pair with Miles Robinson, who really seems like he's coming into his own now, could make us really formidable at the back. And then having if Sosa doing the thing where he splits the center backs, it's very exciting to think about. So can't wait to see him on the field. Hopefully we can get him in there soon.
Hopefully he is eligible to play over the weekend, but we shall see. If I was a betting man, I would probably bet against that, but I think probably would do well with maybe a run out before he gets a full on start to really, I think,
Right.
get the bearings in MLS in that way. But yeah, I think what's interesting for me for him filling that DP spot is, yeah, I mean, we basically have a DP defender, we have a DP midfielder, and we have a DP forward. And yeah, not too many MLS clubs, if any, could say that. And it's definitely, yeah, that's gonna be something interesting going forward if he stays a DP in terms of Franco. Because there is maybe some speculation that he might not going forward. I mean, he could be bought down as well. But that definitely just, I think, bolsters the type of depth that we have in our lineup, that we can pretty much have, another former DP on the pitch. That's that bodes well, I think, in the prospects of how we can perform on the pitch. But let's move on to Matheus Rossetto, and yeah, he's reportedly supposed to be back from Brazil this week. He may have been working on his green card, says Doug Roberson, and we'll see if he actually is. That might open up one of those international spots, or I don't know. Maybe some people are speculating that Rossetto might be the one that unfortunately is maybe sacrificed from the roster, if not. But would that be something that would be a little bit harmful to our roster? What do you think? Would you be remiss losing Rossetto?
Yeah, right now I would say yes, because you look at the midfield that's been used so far. It's basically Sosa, Ibarra, and Hyman. Now I could see using the at that sort of 8th position that Hyman's playing. So maybe a Moreno, maybe even Barco. In terms of Ibarra, though, I'm not sure you have a natural replacement. Like maybe Mo Adams, for example. Or I'm struggling to think of someone else. Maybe Hyman gets moved in that position, but I think you would want some depth overall. So I think early on last season, especially in preseason, we saw some things from Rossetto that was kind of promising, and so I think Rossetto may be one of those players that improves because of the system and the manager. So I would say I wouldn't write off his future with LA United yet, at least this season.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't get it off yet.
Yes, LA United do need to get roster compliant before the match against Orlando City, so no doubt there will be some moves announced soon. But yeah, just stay tuned on our socials for that. But yes, moving on from that, MLS has officially announced the U22 initiative. There's definitely, in terms of that, there's 3. There's for each club, there are some specific things that get kind of wonky, but another new 2021 roster rule is that there's no amount of fee earned from the transfer of a designated player that may be converted into GAM. And so that also is interesting as well, because why would they create a new rule that pretty much disincentivizes selling DPs and maybe U22 players as well, as opposed to the old system? It just maybe, I don't know, it's another one of those MLS things that makes you question a lot of their thinking. But you have a quick thought on that?
Well, at the risk of getting too deep in the weeds. So, what about TAM? Is TAM going to continue existing, or TAM? They're getting rid of TAM, right?
Exactly. So it's
Where's TAM?
Yeah, TAM is not going to be existing, and so yeah, it would just be a lot of general allocation money, and so it is. Yeah, just
well, then it is weird. Yeah, right. Then it's like you basically have to use the money for DPs, right? Is that what they're trying to encourage? Like since the trade that MLS is saying, okay, we're giving you essentially, let's say they add 3 U22, so we're giving you slots for 6 DPs, but any money that you make from selling a DP, you have to then, I don't know. I mean, I'm not, again, who knows what MLS is thinking?
It's another one of those perplexing roster rules things that we won't get too into the weeds, like you were saying.
Yeah,
so.
right.
But anyway, let's move on into maybe one of the people that does get into the weeds in terms of that. Lucy Rushton our former now technical or head of technical recruitment and analysis, she has been signed away from our front office, and she has been hired as DC United's general manager and also the head of technical recruitment and analysis there as well. Congratulations to her, but big blow for us. I mean, she's a big part of our history. She's been there from the beginning, but she does become the second GM in MLS history to be a female. The other one was Lynn Merter-Panel, or Merter-Perel of San Jose Clash in 1999. But yes, Darren Eales did have a statement to say about Lucy Rushton. He said that Lucy has been a valued and well-respected member of Atlanta United front office from the beginning days of our club. She came to Atlanta as the only female head of an analytics in MLS and has brought a high level of expertise and perspective to our technical department for the past 5 years. We couldn't be prouder of Lucy's achievements and the opportunities that lie ahead for her. We are happy that she will continue to contribute to our league, and we wish her the very best of luck in her future endeavors. The tough part here is that she goes to a supposed rival a little bit in DC United, and we'll see plenty of her, and she definitely knows our front office intimately. And so if there are any mentorship or tips and advice that we could give her, I hope they don't, because we don't want DC United to usurp us in any degree. But yeah, any thoughts on Rushton going to DC United?
Just major congrats to her. I mean, she was always on the socials. She was obviously a key part of the front office. And so it's great to see her get this opportunity, and hopefully it opens doors for more female GMs in the future.
Definitely. And so let's move on to the match preview then. And we're playing our old little nemesis in the Orlando Kitties. And it's Saturday, April 17th, 3 p.m. at Exploria Stadium. And, unfortunately, last season wasn't spectacular against them. Kind of annoying, really. We were 0-2-2 in terms of wins, losses, and draws. We unfortunately lost at home, but we were still undefeated at Exploria Stadium, so that is good. Hopefully we can keep that run going. But last season for the Kitties, they finished in 4th place in the East, 41 points. They lost in the conference semifinals to the New England Revolution. But yes, definitely, in terms of our series matchup overall, we have 7 wins to their 2, 4 draws. So, we're still very much in pole position in this rivalry, so to speak. And, they'll have a long way to really catch up. But this will be the first of many this season that we do play against Orlando City. They've been gearing up pretty much their whole preseason to play us, essentially. And they have 2 games to go off of in terms of scouting us. Of course, we won our first 2 matches of the season in the Champions League, of course. But, they have maybe not a lot of new players, but one player in Alexander Pato that, is maybe geared up to possibly do some things in MLS. But also Nani is another player to watch for sure for them. The veteran player for them and their captain. And he's definitely, of course, in terms of that pedigree, he's played for Manchester United. So he's that guy that as they go, he goes, or as he goes, they go, rather. But definitely they are a team that definitely, I think, prioritized continuity in the offseason. They didn't make a ton of moves. They only really brought in Bato, Sylvester van der Water, but they did lose a key guy in their striker in Daryl DK. who, of course, is in the EFL Championship, and also Josue Coleman and Kamal Miller. But, yeah, DK not being part of their squad anymore in terms of, at least in the interim. He's on loan. But, yeah, Pato in instead. What do you think? Like, does Pato strike fear in your heart, or are you happy to see maybe Gerald DK maybe not part of their squad and maybe hopefully sold actually somewhere by Orlando City?
Yeah, I'll answer your second question first. I'm definitely thrilled to not see DK in the league. I think it is cool too that he's doing well at Barnsley, and yeah, if Orlando City are smart, they will sell him to. I mean, there are rumors that even Premier League teams are looking at him, like an Everton, and so it'd be a great move for him, and it would be, I think, it would reflect well on the league in terms of Pato. And maybe as a Chelsea fan, he had that terrible loan there, but like honestly, Pato had been fallen off, and then he goes back home to Sao Paulo, and they release him, and he hasn't played since July. So an out of form Pato definitely doesn't strike fear. And I think I think a lot of this is going to fall on Nani again, which really how it was before, So I think that Nani has been a pretty good player in MLS, and he's just can. I am curious to see how they adjust. Like Reha obviously did well last year with them. I'd always felt like they had one or two good players like Chris Mueller and so on. So it was always confusing to me why they were so bad. So I think last year you saw more of a true reflection, a better reflection of the good players that they have. Do they have enough I don't know, we'll see, but I don't think Pato's in.
Yeah. And Junior Urso in that midfield as well, has been kind of the rocks in their midfield. So it is definitely, the depth, is it there? Well, we'll see for them, but definitely going into this match, it will be, they'll be pretty much full strength in that sense. But for Atlanta United, of course, Ezequiel Barco, he's been, like we were mentioning, pretty much carrying this team a little bit in terms of creating chances. Josef Martinez, of course, another player to watch in this match if he starts or if he doesn't. Is it Licha Lopez? We shall see. But Santiago Sosa so far has been just that person in midfield that can do it all. And, being able to defend any of their best players on the opposition side, being positionally so sound, and just starting our attacks. It's been really quite wonderful so far from Sosa. And, hopefully Moreno, obviously former DP now, but he is a player that if, he can get it going after that first match where it wasn't, maybe the best showing from him, if he can, be deployed in probably the positions that he's most comfortable, it'd be the best that we maybe see the better Moreno. But let's get into the injuries and availability. Mark, take it away.
Yeah, so for first of all, for Orlando, as you mentioned, they come in pretty much the full. For Atlanta United, we're going to be missing Mo Adams. He's recovering from hernia surgery still. Hasetu, not quite sure, might be working on his green card, but he's not going to be available. And of course, Alan Franco is still working on his visa, so probably won't be available in time for this match.
Yes, so again, midfield's a little short. There could be some other players that maybe are given the chance if there's slight rotation, maybe, or some second half subs. But in terms of Orlando City's 11, they likely will kind of pretty much be deployed this way in pretty much a kind of 4-3-3. And Pedro Galice is between the sticks for them normally. And Ruan, Carlos, Janssen, and Moutinho fill out that back line. Pereira and Urso in the midfield. And also the Mauricio Pereira in kind of that 10 role. And then Miller and Nani as the wingers, and Pato probably is going to be their starting striker. And so, it's definitely maybe not as dangerous maybe as, say, last year, but, they're still formidable in a lot of senses. So they're not going to be overlooked, and especially when they have pretty much scouting on 2 of our games, I imagine that they will have a lot to go on for, and hopefully we just are a little bit more clinical in the chances that we get. But let's get into our predicted 11, and let's get in between the lines here. Mark, yeah, let's get our back 5 first, so to speak, in goalkeeper as well.
Yep. So we both expect Kuzan to return to his usual spot between the sticks, maybe the captaincy as well. And then from right back to left back, we have Lennon, Robinson, Walks, and Bello. I think, they were so good the first 2 games. No reason to change anything, just we might not available. So, yeah, that's what we have for our back lines.
Right. And, Ronald Hernandez still hasn't really played a part yet, but I think, to take away, starting spot from Lennon right now, he hasn't, not exactly, deserves to be dropped either. So it's, I think he persists as that right back. And if we see a debut by Alan Franco, I think that would be a surprise, but, stranger things could happen. But let's get into that midfield. I think slightly different for both of us. I have Ibarra and Sosa and Barco, as it's kind of been deployed during the preseason. But, somewhat in that second half against Alajuelense in that second leg. But you have something different, Mark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have Sosa, Ibarra, and as we mentioned, we talked about Moreno maybe playing his natural position. I would like to see him start off in that 8th position. And we should, as we go through the lines, we should keep in mind that there's going to be a lot of fluidity in this formation anyway. But, I think we'll see Moreno in a more of a midfield role for this match.
I think Barco should be more deployed as the 10 a little bit, as in that second half, he definitely he was a little less anonymous like he was maybe in the first in terms of like the chances created. I mean, he definitely just wasn't able to maybe fashion the chances that he was in the second half when he was more central. And so I think for me it makes more sense when he's played as a left winger, maybe not as effective, but it could be that fluidity that Mark was talking about. But getting into the front 3 then, take it away.
So at right wing, I think Jurgen was as you do as well after he came on in the second half. I think Atlanta United were definitely missing that width in last night's match. And so I would definitely like to see Jurgen Damm take up a right wing position. Licha Lopez comes in for both of us. Josef got 60 minutes. He's got to recover a little bit, I think. As I mentioned before, Hensei's going to have the handbrake up on him as well. And then, of course, you have Moreno at the left wing. I have Barco. And I think that honestly makes sense in the sense that I think that you could see them swapping positions a lot. Moreno going out to the wing, Barco coming in. That interchange, and then having Bello, overlap on the left as well. I think the left side will definitely be dangerous. Right, and if the defense gets sucked in that way, if they can switch the ball over to Dom on the right or Lennon getting forward on the right, I think that's how I think that's one way in which you can see all this come together. And the thing about Licha Lopez too is that he'll drop deep, he'll knit things together. So this is definitely a lineup that I would like to see versus Orlando City.
Yeah, and like you were saying, I think it's in terms of the striker position, it's going to be a lot of kind of interchangeability between Licha Lopez and Josef Martinez. Obviously, they bring different things, but it'll be probably a lot of this where one starts one match and another starts the other match, kind of back and forth, and that way to keep both of them fresh. Obviously, Licha Lopez is in his late 30s, and Josef Martinez obviously is coming back from injury, so it makes a lot of sense here. So anyway, let's move on to what we'd like to see the team do in this match. I think we've seen a little bit of this, but more, I think, would be better in terms of more verticality with Jürgen Damm getting in behind, maybe getting to the touchline like he often does. I think will really stretch out this game, and so that's why I think both of us have him starting. And then hopefully we're more clinical in front of goal because, yeah, we hit a lot to the keeper or got unlucky, hit posts or crossbars, and hopefully we can start to see some hit the back of the net in the match, more than one, hopefully. But yeah, also we got to watch out for that ball over the top as there will be willing runners for Orlando City, I'm sure. And yeah, keeping that press and counter press, keeping busy and pretty much after we lose the ball, making sure that we harry the ball carrier as soon as possible. That usually tends to bode the best in Heinze's system. But yeah, if we keep it tight, if we go down early, you know, don't get our heads down, it's not going to be a big deal. It's, I think, yes, some of the squad is kind of held over from last season in terms of for us. So they know a little bit of those horrors at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but they also know the big pluses in how we still kept them at bay at Exploria Stadium. Also with that, you know, that Adam John last-minute header to, you know, break their hearts. we definitely know all about that. But anything in particular that you like to see them do in this match?
Not really to add to what you've already said. Definitely the counter press. Definitely. And like I mentioned before, I think the left side is going to be a point of interest for Atlanta if they line up the way we think they will. But I think you look at the roster construction in general, I think it's more built to where you have like attackers cutting in from the right side. You have Bello, like I mentioned, overlapping. Mike Ambrose can do that a little bit as well. So yeah, I think the left side is going to be dangerous and hopefully produces some goals.
Yeah, hopefully we, you know, overload them a lot on that left and, you know, pretty much get our chances going from there. But that gets us to our score prediction. Mark, what do you got?
Let's think about this one. I have us winning 2-1. I think that, you know, with a couple matches under our belt now, and obviously they've trained, they've been working things. I'm curious to see what wrinkles they start to introduce in this match. You mentioned Orlando will have seen those two games. So I expect now to see a slightly different lineup. So yeah, I think that I think we'll come out. I think we'll overwhelm them to a degree. Maybe show them something they haven't seen before, and I think that Atlanta will win 2-1.
I love that. Hopefully that is the case. I'm unfortunately a little more reticent to kind of name a winner here, and so it's going to be a 1-1 draw for me. I think you know, a lot of our if we don't necessarily win them, we've been drawing against Orlando City in that way. So I think you know, against Orlando City, who have been gearing up for us pretty much all preseason, and us still we got to get our match fitness under us. I think we won't necessarily have our full legs. So, yeah, I think it's a 1-1 draw for me. But, yeah, let us know in the comments below what you think the scoreline is going to be, who you think is going to start, all of that. You know, we're looking forward to what you have to say. But, guys, that pretty much does it for the entire show, except for the question of the day. And the question of the day is, can Ezequiel Barco live up to his potential in 2021? You know, it's definitely a big year for him. What can he do? How many goals? How many assists? Let us know in the comments below. But guys, that does it for the show. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. For Mark, I'm AJ. Thank you so much for watching.